the test results came back. She pops it up and she gasps. And she said, "Oh my God." And I was like, "Looks good?" And she said, "Patty, what have you done?" January 2024, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, metastatic breast cancer. I did agree to have a double mastectomy, but I refused all other treatment. And I felt that I could work with this body, do what I could to heal this body on my own. But it was kind of a flurry of, doctors after doctor after doctor. And they told me in June of 2024, after doing a PET scan, that I appeared to be clear. Cancer was gone, no worries whatsoever. After a few months, I started having a lot more pain in my body, mostly in my lower back and in my hip. And so I assumed that what I had was sciatic nerve problems. By March of 2025, I had become extremely ill. I could not eat anymore. My fatigue was so incredible that I could barely lift my arms at times during the day, and my pain level was off the charts. So experiencing level 8, 9, and 10 pain for 7, 8 months. And so I talked to my doctor at that point and I said, "I think something might be wrong and maybe we should do another PET scan and see what's happening." So in June of 2025, they did a second PET scan and turned out that I had stage 4 incurable metastatic breast cancer. The cancer had spread into my lymph nodes, my lungs, and I had over 20 tumors throughout my bones. I had a tumor the size of my fist in my left hip. This was one of the reasons why I was in so much pain. I had several tumors going down my spine, had them in my right hip, and literally everywhere. And so I knew that at that point, as they're telling me, "This is incurable. We can't help you, so we're just going to try to make you comfortable." I spent 4.5 years doing the work in a very devoted manner, reading all of Dr. Joe's books, doing meditations with him, listening to lectures. One thing that I did take away from that experience of working with him for those 4.5 years was that I learned that the most important thing that I could do for myself was to never allow myself to be a victim of my circumstances. I knew at that moment that my answer was I needed to go to a Dr. Joe 7-day retreat. In July, I signed up to go to the Washington, D.C., August 2025 retreat. At that time, my pain levels were off the charts. I was either using a wheelchair, a walker, or somebody would have to assist me just to get from one place to the other. So I got to the retreat and I was shuffling. I could barely walk. I was incapable of really moving around very much at all. And it was a challenge, but again, I knew that if I just put my mind to it, I would be able to overcome. The first time that I knew that things were going to change for me was when I went on my first walking meditation, and it was on the 3rd day. And at some point in the meditation, Dr. Joe said, "See yourself as you'd like to see yourself in the future." And something inside of me just clicked, and I knew at that moment that I was 100% going to heal myself. I remember straightening my shoulders and straightening my back and walking differently. I was shuffling, I was having to hunch over and hold on to the walker in order to get anywhere. And in that split second, everything changed for me. I got back to the ballroom and I looked at my walker, which I'd been using for months at that point, and I just shoved it up into the seat in front of me, and I never touched it again. I haven't touched it since then. By the time I left the retreat, my pain levels of 8, 9, and 10 had gone down to 2 and 3 and 4, maybe at a very bad time. So I was realizing that things were going in the direction that I wanted them to go. So I had several very profound mystic experiences, especially in the first probably 2 to 3 months of doing the daily meditations. I had tingling happening in the areas where the tumors were, and I knew they were dissolving. And there were moments whenever I could feel my brain just slamming, just gamma energy was just absolutely beyond words. And I would be sobbing because I knew what was happening. Here I am working with this entire plethora of doctors, this medical team. Every one of them are telling me, now you know, Patty, this is incurable. There is nothing that we can do other than make you comfortable. So I had my next PET scan, and that happened in September of 2025. And the oncologist called me in, and they pulled up the screen and they said, "Whoa, what happened?" And I said, "Well, I have been meditating." Lucky for me, my oncologist believes in meditation, supported it wholeheartedly, and she said, "Patty, please don't stop. I believe that you are going to be able to do this." So I had even the support of my oncologist, and she said, "Your mind can do anything. Let's go for it." So we made a little pinky promise together that we were going to do this together and that I was going to do the miraculous. I kept at the work, more incredible mystic experiences, one after the other, and I knew that my tumors were leaving. I knew that they were going. So in the first PET scan in September, or the second PET scan, I guess, I had eradicated the cancer in my lymph nodes, I eradicated the cancer in my lungs, and I had completely dissolved over 16 tumors in 10 weeks' time. That's all I needed to know that I could go all the way. That gave me even more energy to go deeper into the work. There were sometimes, like Dr. Joe said, an hour wasn't enough, 2 hours wasn't enough, maybe 3 hours a day, because I could feel what was happening and the excitement and the joy and it was blissful. Everything about it was blissful. And I was in a state of knowingness. I knew without question that when I had my next PET scan, that there would not be any sign of tumors. The oncologist was not able to make it to my appointment. So she sent her physician's assistant, who I had worked with before, another incredible woman. And she said, "I am so excited. I have been refreshing my computer every 10 minutes this morning, Patty. I cannot wait to see what you have done." And I thought, oh my gosh, these people talk about me. And, this is a Kaiser system. This is a huge, medical system. And so I thought, this is really good. This is good news, because even they believe and even they know that there is a possibility that I have done this. I was very confident. I was sitting in a chair and just smiling at her, and she said, it just came in. So as I'm in her office, the test results came back. She pops it up and she gasps. And she said, "Oh my God." And I was like, "Looks good?" And she said, "Patty, what have you done?" Every day now for 6 months, every single day, I visioned this clear PET scan. I said, I knew that if I could see the clear PET scan, no tumors, then I could create that. I did 2 things during my meditations. One, to see the clear PET scan. The other one is to tell this story. I have been pain-free now for, I think probably 4 months, maybe 3 months. My appetite is back. I was up dancing both yesterday and today in the ballroom, and just feeling so incredibly grateful and so proud of the fact that I knew that I could become mystic. I knew that I could become the miraculous person who healed themselves. And I'm profoundly grateful that I'm able to share my story with everybody.